We ready?
Here we go.
Here we go.
There we go. Story time.
What are we going to tell stories about?
We're going to kick off with a story. So this past week is where our topic came from. I was talking to, I'll just use his name, Chris. I was talking to Chris, easier username. Had my one-on-one meeting with Chris this week, and he, over last week, it was a holiday weekend. They had a unfortunate death in the family, lots of family in town. So as we were talking about how his week went, it started off with, well, not so good. I didn't get this in. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And my thinking was, well, Chris, I really wouldn't have expected you to get all that stuff done in a week of chaos like you just had. And, you know, he was just kind of kept referring back to, I just off track. I'm off track. And, you know, it's like, no, you're not necessarily off track. Like, the whole point of this is, and then that's what we're going to get to, is consistency and understanding what that actually means, because it gets mixed up with maybe perfection sometimes, or we'll just say perfection. People think, you know, if I miss 1 week, or if 1 week doesn't go well, and that's where he was at, that 1 week, because he's been working with us for about 3 months now, everything has went really well for him, and this was the first time that they've really had chaos hit them in the mix of trying to make all these changes that they're making, him and his wife. So the first sign of getting off track really kind of stressed him out and brought a level of concern where, you know, and like I said, my thought was like, there's no reason for concern. The only concern would be is if next week is rough, the following week was rough. Now we're a month in and we haven't recovered. 6 months in and we haven't recovered. Because it's these big moments in life that's what derails people for the long haul, you know. And as of when we talked, he's like, oh yeah, so far this week I'm right back to where I was doing all the things. So, you know, we really came down to it. I was like, you know, Chris, it's time to just accept the fact that you will not be perfect. We're not going to hit 52 out of 52 weeks. I said, what if you just allowed yourself that just understand that you're probably going to have maybe 6 to 8 weeks that aren't going to be what you wanted. And that's okay, because 46 out of 52 weeks is really good. Mm-hmm. That's 90%. So if we could be 90% efficient and consistent, that's what consistency is the right back at it as soon as something hits or something's not just quite right. How quickly do we get back on that track that we were on? So
I think we can wrap up the show right now. Yeah. I mean, that was just excellent point of...
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. That's just an excellent example of what daily all of us go through. Do you know anyone perfect?
Nope.
Do you know anyone perfect?
No, sure.
I mean, my wife is the closest thing to it.
Good point. Because I have one of those too.
And do you ever...
What about Bill?
Bill is perfect. Oh, man. I mean, he's...
Just ask him.
He's so perfect. So, but back to that first part we were talking about where you said, I didn't expect that. Do you expect anybody you know to be perfect? Like,
no.
You don't know anyone perfect, and you don't expect anyone to be perfect. But is there a little bit inside of you that ever expects yourself to perform at a certain level that might resemble perfection, potentially?
Yeah, somewhere in there. I'm trying to think of a very specific way that I feel that way. Like with my exercise and nutrition, I don't, probably because I've been living this same lifestyle for 20 years now. And I know that I'm fine. Like, I've experienced the weeks where things were just totally off the rails. Right. I go on vacation and I didn't care about my food. And then, you know, I've realized, like, yeah, nothing in my life changed because of one poor week of nutrition.
But of all the people that you know, no one expects... I don't expect anyone to be perfect.
Yeah, but nobody else does
this either. This is where our clients get caught up in this. Like Chris, like he was doing so well that he almost may have viewed his consistency as perfection, which is why it threw him off so much. Like where he's like, this feels off now. And sometimes our clients do confuse the consistency and perfection words. I've seen it with some of the ladies that I'm working with, that the minute that the inconsistency starts, they, like Chris, you might have thought, well, this doesn't feel the same anymore. But really, like you said, it was just a blip in his week and in the time.
Yeah, and honestly, like for me, when I'm working with somebody, when we're doing our transformation, and it's 12 weeks, I want something like this to happen to them to see how do they respond when chaos hits. Because sometimes it's easy when life is just cruising along, people just chug along, and it's like, oh yeah, this is so easy, doing all these things, eat fruits, vegetables, eating at home, get my exercise in. This is easy. Like what? Like there's nothing to it, and then they don't always get smacked in the face. And then it's maybe down the road they get smacked in the face when they think they have it. And then seeing oh shit, maybe I wasn't ready for how do I get back on? So that's where it's good to see I like to see it happen. So that way I'm right there, see how they respond. And then now we can make an adjustment. We can have that talk about it. Okay, well, yeah, you hit it. Well, what's next? And it was good for him. I think he felt a lot more at ease after we talked about it.
And now he's probably aware of when this could happen again, which is a huge win. He's aware that the next time something does hit that's off, that he doesn't have to freak out or be concerned that means that something has happened that he can't recover from. And I think that's what happens with a lot of us. Like, something happens, and then these seasons of life can last, instead of a few days or even a few hours, they can go for weeks or months or
years.
Speaking from experience here,
Yeah.
that there's been seasons of life that I've let go on for years, versus what now I have the tools to do what I help my clients do is to navigate that time so they can see that it does not mean, it doesn't, at the end of the day, it actually means nothing. And I'm going to help them find a win in there. I'm going to help them find awareness in there. And we're going to use tools to make sure that the next time the left field comes, they can have their glove out and be like, gotcha. I need to.
A sports reference.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I even use my well, actually, I'm
wrong
right.
hand, but it's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I throw left-handed. I don't.
So you'd catch with this.
I think. I really don't know. It doesn't matter. I digress.
I use the same kind of thought process with my folks, but rather than the consistency, we're finding those wins. Like, I'll use the terminology forward progress, where forward is forward. So it might be a baby step. It might be a big step certain weeks, or there might even be at times a step backwards before we go forward again. But I like to use that forward is forward. No matter how we get there, we're still getting somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to butcher this quote, but it's like the path to success is lined with failure, right? So there should be no expectations for perfection.
No, and that's, again, the biggest thing of this whole thing is just how do you, like, somebody who has it and I feel confident in where they're at is the ones that rebound the fastest. Like, oh yeah, I had this thing come up. I did all these family things, and it's Monday, and it's just like the other 51 Mondays of the month or year.
Back in business.
Just back to the same old boring shit of, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. But those boring rinse and repeats are what build the progress.
Yeah. It's just unexciting. Like, at times it can be, just boring and just plowing through. But at the end of the day, to live a healthy lifestyle, that's what it's going to take. It's not going to be exciting 52 weeks of the year times 20 years. It's going to be the same old, but finding out what that is, what it looks like. And when I get derailed, like let's just go through some of the biggest things that maybe derail people.
Okay.
I have two in mind that I think are like the biggest.
Do you want us to guess? Is this a game?
Sure. I wrote it down, but you probably can't read it.
You did?
It's in the red ink.
Are you a doctor?
Yes.
That looks like doctor handwriting.
Surgery?
Nope. Kind of.
I can't read what that says.
Injury.
Injury. That's
okay. Injury.
Yep.
Family tragedy. I can read that one.
Family tragedy.
I'm gonna add vacations to the list.
Or just schedule changes in general.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, how many times, I mean, I'm sure all experienced it, but anytime work changes or kids' schedules change, just any little change in the routine can.
When our kids are sick,
Yeah.
or any family member really if you're directly helping care for them, that's similar to injury, but not personal.
Yeah. The injury one is the one that I probably think takes people off the hardest when they try to tell themselves, I can't work out. So as soon as they can't work out, then, well, if we can't exercise, then we can't eat healthy.
That's a good point.
The whole list just goes on and
Yes.
on and on and on. And now they're way off versus it. Like, that's why I think it's so important. Even if somebody's like injured, I would rather you come in here and sit and do nothing than sit at home and do nothing. Just to keep it in your routine. Keep that routine going that I still show up even when things are at their worst. And usually there's no injury that somebody can't do something. But getting them to understand that is super important because, like I said, somebody gets an injury and they're out for a month. I watch it take them down for who knows how long before we see them again sometimes.
Okay, what can we do? What are some action steps that people can take to work on their consistency, that they can look at where they're at now and move those steps forward versus just feeling like, oh, it's the holiday weekend came and went. I don't even know what to do from here, so I'm just going to continue this into the next weekend. I'm going to wait till Monday.
As much as we kind of don't like the philosophy of waiting till Monday is not, to me, not that big of a deal. Waiting till January 1st, that's a big deal. But waiting until Monday, maybe it was a 7-day setback. Okay.
I think the bigger thing is having a plan when you get to Monday.
Always checking in every Monday. What does this week look like? Where am I at? What am I doing? Am I doing all the things starting today? Even so, granted, like, would we love for people to just, like, on Friday start to check back in? But, like, if you just did a weekly check-in with yourself, and if you did it every Monday, then your fall-offs aren't going to last more than a week.
So let me rephrase my question. What if every week I'll start again Monday?
So then there was never a start.
So I'm not referring to like, oh, my, long weekend really came into the week and I'm going to, that part makes sense. I'm talking about I'm going to start on Monday. Like you do that every Monday.
Oh, so yeah. So that means there was no action.
Right. And
you're
Josh,
waiting on that willpower.
You brought up a good point. Like, what's your plan?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to have to jump in at some point. And I don't really know the exact thing that's going to help somebody cross the line other than you have to put your foot in the water and get started. So if you're somebody who hasn't gotten started yet, that's a whole nother conversation versus just falling off and then getting back on. I think sometimes the getting back on, one of the deters is like, this is where I was. And it's hard to accept the fact I'm not there right now. Mm-hmm. And I have to take a few steps backwards to move forward to get there again. And that can be frustrating. Opposed to, which is still better than the continual free fall, farther and farther away from where you want to go. I don't know if that answered the question at all.
I don't know.
I don't even remember the question.
Oh, thanks.
Well,
I was just referring to like if your mindset's in a place where you feel like you're constantly saying that it's every Monday that you have this conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
Looks different than having a bad weekend and then, waiting or having a bad time period and you're just like, you know what? Fresh start is Monday. But that Monday, not every single Monday of your life. And again, I bring that up because I've been in a situation where it was every Monday or that's
I guess
why.
What I would tell somebody, because it doesn't matter what it is. It could be your job. It could be your fitness. It could be nutrition. It's time to hire somebody to help cross the line. Like if you're constantly telling yourself every Monday, I need to do this thing, and you're not doing the thing, pay somebody to help you do the thing. that would probably be my thing, I guess. Like, I mean, we're doing it with different aspects of the gym, like helping us with social media. We struggled to do that on a consistent basis. So what do? We hire somebody to help us.
Right.
You know, same thing with mindset coaching. We could read all the books and try to learn about it, but it's a whole lot faster to hire somebody.
Yeah, and a lot of us do struggle to ask for help. It could be out of pride, or it could be out of fear of failure.
How many years did we go without asking for help?
Right. So it's like you would rather just continue in the status quo versus saying like, okay, this person can help me. They can help me do it faster, but now I'm afraid that I'll fail, or now I'm afraid that it won't work. Right. So we're just continually stacking up more reasons, telling ourselves why we should not ask for help.
We should probably just do a whole nother topic on this one.
Okay.
We'll save this for
Write
next
it
time.
down.